Hello everyone, now let's take a look at task 2. Given a string set that contains an individual's ID information, we need to extract the person's date of birth and output it in the format of year, month, and day. Additionally, we need to calculate and output the person's age. Let's proceed with the implementation. Firstly, let's analyze where the date of birth is located in the ID string. It should start from a specific position and continue for a certain number of characters. In other words, the first 6 characters of the ID represent the region, and the date of birth starts from the 7th character and spans 8 characters. To extract the date, we need to understand the pattern in which it is presented. That's why we wrote it in a specific pattern, to match the format in which the date is presented. We extract this date and then convert it into a date type. To perform the conversion, we can use the SimpleDateFormat class, which works well with the desired format. This approach allows us to obtain the desired solution. Simultaneously, we need to extract the year from the obtained date and convert it into an integer for further calculations. We can either extract a substring representing the year directly, or use the date and SimpleDateFormat approach to achieve this. Let's continue and proceed to extract the substring. If you are unfamiliar with these methods, you can refer to the documentation or help files. For example, if you need to extract a substring from a string, you can search for methods related to substrings in the documentation. By searching for substring, you can find the available methods and their usage. It's recommended to go through the documentation or help files to familiarize yourself with the relevant methods. If some of you remember the method name related to extracting substrings, you can directly search using that method name, which might be faster. The key is to search based on what you remember. For example, if you know that there is a method for extracting substrings, you can search for it. In this case, we want to extract a substring from the middle, not until the end. So, we need to provide 2 parameters, the starting position and the ending position. Pay attention to the fact that the indexing of characters in the string starts from 0. So, when extracting the date, we use state as the date object. We want to extract a substring from our ID information. Starting from the 7th character, which corresponds to index 6. As we need to extract a total of 6 characters, 12, we stop at index 12. However, we don't include the character at index 12. Therefore, we extract 6 characters starting from index 6, resulting in the desired string representation of the date. Now that we have obtained the required string representation of the date, we can proceed with parsing it. We will use the SimpleDateFormat class to parse the date. But first, we need to specify the format pattern. As we mentioned earlier, the date is written in a concatenated format. Now, let's proceed with the parsing. There is a parse method that can parse a string. Let's take a look. What is generated when parsing the string? It is a date object representing the date and time. Date, we will use this method to parse the date string and generate a date object. Please note that when parsing, there is a possibility of encountering errors, which we will learn to handle with exception handling in the future. For now, let's not worry about it. After parsing the date, we need to output it in the specified format. We need to create another format pattern for the output. We will place the output statement accordingly. Now let's test if we have resolved the first issue. Here, I made a calculation mistake. We need to consider an additional 8 characters for year, month, and day. I previously considered only 6 characters, which caused an exception. By making this correction, we can successfully parse the date. Now, what do we need to do next? We need to calculate the person's age. Let's first check if we can directly extract the birth year from the date object. We find that it is indeed possible. We can directly extract the birth year using the format Y. This represents the year of birth. How do we represent the current year? New date. We can use new date to get the current system time, and then use the getYear method. The difference between these 2 years will give us the age. It is obtained by subtracting the birth year from the current system time. This way, we can obtain the person's age. Finally, let's output and print the person's age. After running the code, what is the value of the age? Let's take a look. Here, we forgot to include a line break when printing the output, so it was printed without a line break. Let's modify the code slightly. Now, we can clearly see that the age is 23. For someone born in 1999, they would be 23 years old now. This completes our task. Using the date class and simple date format class. Earlier, we mentioned that we can also use the new classes introduced after JDK 1.8. Let's see if these new classes can accomplish our task. Write down the results of the following program execution.